Ladies and gentlemen, Honkai Star Rail is coming out the 26th of April, and here is why I am excited for Honkai Star Rail and why I think it is a game that you should definitely give a shot, especially if you like similar games in the gacha genre and if you can enjoy some turn-based combat with some good visuals. And let's begin with the designs. The character designs in Honkai Impact Star Rail seem to have quite a bit of flavor to them. They seem to be quite unique and different from each other, and especially the elemental bursts seem to be the highlight here. If we look at some of the elemental bursts that we can see now, they seem to be longer than those in Genshin Impact and seem to be quite detailed. This detail helps to give the character a little bit more flavor. Next to that, the adult character seems to be a bit more mature looking, where the female and male characters are a bit taller and they look a bit older than in a game like Genshin, which I think is kind of nice. So all in all, I think the character designs have a lot of flavor, especially the elemental bursts, which is a very big plus for me because I really enjoy this visual style. Especially if you're going to pull for an expensive 5-star character, you would want them to look the part of the price that they cost, right? The second point is on this point of quality. Hoyoverse has a massive sack of money from Genshin Impact and they can use that to develop a high quality product. Next to that, Honkai Star Rail has been in the oven for quite a while and developments have definitely taken their time, and that is a very good thing. If a game gets removed from the oven way too early, we all know what happens. The product seems to be unfinished and it ends up being very disappointing. But if Honkai Star Rail takes a similar way like Genshin, where the game is reasonably bare bones at the start, but has all the main systems done very nicely and just feels great to play and just gets more content as we go on, I think it can be another massive hit just like Genshin Impact. And I am very much excited to see what kind of product we are going to get when it releases, as it has been in development for quite a while. The third point that I am personally very excited for is the combat. The combat is very different from Genshin, where it is turn-based. It is way more primitive than that of Genshin. As Genshin's combat was very innovative, it was kind of new for the combat genre of gacha games. We don't see that kind of combat very often, especially with the element mix matching. And they did something very similar for Honkai Impact, but on a turn-based system. Now, on a turn-based system, I really enjoy the game. Something like Pokemon and something like Persona 5 makes me feel like you're very badass and tactical by just sending a team of 4 and all 4 of the team members will be in the screen at the same time, and it is a fun combat system, I think. And also it is very different from a game like Genshin, and because it is very different from a game like Genshin, even Genshin players will feel like the game is new and a fresh concept. Now let's talk about it compared to Genshin. The game's setting. The game's setting is very space vibey and a little bit futuristic. And I think that is a neat setting. I really want to see what the Hoyoverse artists can do with this futuristic setting, as they already made a couple of Honkai Impact games and those look absolutely beautiful. So with more money and more development time on their hands, and newer technology of course, I wonder what kind of future looking settings and visuals they can make. Where Genshin is very current time or like more medieval times, Honkai Star Rail is going to be very futuresque, and I wonder how this future setting is going to look, but I think that is going to be a massive plus for the game. The next point what I think Honkai Impact did very well, and what I'm kind of excited for, is that the main character is quite strong. The main character in Honkai Impact Star Rail seems to be at least useful at the start of the game and definitely grow a bit with you, gain new elements, etc. A useful main character like the Traveler or like the character in Honkai Impact is really fun. I really like growing with your main character and seeing them get stronger and kind of progressing like a true MMO kind of feel, where you start like a weak puny character and you grow up to be a big strong boy. And another part that I hope Honkai Impact Star Rail extracts a little bit more excitement out of is the endgame. Now Genshin Impact dropped the ball on the endgame, as there isn't really any. Yes, Abyss is there, but even once you have that beat, there really isn't much endgame. This discussion has been going on for years and it probably won't change anything. But Honkai Impact might be under different management, and thus we might see some more challenging pieces of content and be infinitely challenged throughout our entire playtime of the game. And thus I really hope to see some good endgame and challenging content in Honkai, so we can take those characters, builds and long grinded artifacts to the absolute max, because Endgame is a very important part for the longevity of the game, and the only reason that Genshin can survive without it is due to a constant patch cycle. But if that patch cycle stops, Genshin might feel boring very quickly, and that's why I hope Honkai also has a strong endgame. But I'm excited to see what the devs are going to do, because it is a new form of management and a new vision compared to something like Genshin. And finally, a new adventure is always exciting. A new game from a big producer like Hoyoverse is just always going to be exciting, as they seem to have a good eye for quality, a very big budget, and all in all have made an absolute blockbuster hit of a game in Genshin. So I'm very excited to see what their next game is going to be. I am going to be enjoying it on the fullest, and I would love to hear what you think the game is going to be. Tell me in the comments, and I'll see you next time.